to let you all know that the meeting is being recorded. So go ahead and acknowledge that. First off, welcome to the 2026 National Jamboree at the Summit Bechtel Reserve, July 22nd to 31st informational meeting. We would like to introduce you to your Pacific Harbor Council contingent leaders. For the boys troop, I'm Justin Lewis. I'm the Scoutmaster. I have been in scouting now for 34 years. I started in first grade as a Tiger Cub. I am an Eagle Scout. I earned my Eagle Scouts in 1998. I have served on various positions throughout my scouting adult life as an assistant scoutmaster, committee member, training chair, and a lot of other stuff. But currently, I'm serving as the district chair for the Rainier District. I have been to the National Jamboree in 1997 as a youth, and I'm looking forward to going back in 2026. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Jeff Kasnick so he can do his introduction.
Oh, hi everybody. So I'm Jeff Kasnick. I am a Scoutmaster for Troop 9268 out in Yelm, Washington, and I also serve in a variety of other volunteer roles. A lot of you probably see me at Thunderbird acting as medic on different events. Um, I am an Eagle Scout. I earned my Eagle Scout in 2012. Um, let's see. And I'm going to be the assistant scoutmaster for the boys troop, as well as the contingent medical officer for the National Jamboree contingent. And I went to National Jamboree as an adult leader last time in 2023. So that's me.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Ada Hurtado. I'll be the Scoutmaster for the girls troop. I started my scouting journey a few years ago when my daughter joined the pack, and then I became a den leader, and then I became an assistant scoutmaster when she crossed over into the troop. I also am the Olympic District membership committee chair, and I'm just really excited and looking forward to going to Jamboree. I think it's going to be a great experience for all of our youth. And so that's a little bit about me in a nutshell.
Hi, I am Andrea Scher. I am the Assistant Scoutmaster for the Girls Troop for National Jamboree. About me, I am the Scoutmaster for Troop 692 out of Tacoma, formerly the Girls Troop Scoutmaster, but we are now in the co-pilot program. So now I'm both Scoutmaster for both my boys and girls. I started scouting a few years ago when my daughter joined Cub Scouts and I was popcorn colonel. And then I think I went on to troop and learned everything I possibly could. And here I am now. I'm excited to be here.
We're going to start off with a quick video from a previous attendee from the 2023 National Jamboree, Scott Peters, who's an Eagle Scout.
Hello, Scouts. I'm Scott Peters from Troop 692 in Tacoma, Washington. I'm here because I participated in the National Jamboree Scout Camp a couple years ago at the Summit Bechtel Reserve in West Virginia. It was an amazing experience, and I quite loved it. I would highly recommend anyone and everyone take the opportunity. And this year, you have another opportunity. A contingent is forming for the 2026 National Jamboree. You have the opportunity today to sign up, and I highly recommend it. There they have zip lines, patch trading, they have fellowship, and they have many places where you can interact with scouts across the country and even some international scouts. I highly recommend it for anyone involved. It was one of the best experiences of my life, and I genuinely believe that it is a once-in-a-lifetime experience that all scouts should be able to enjoy.
All right, everybody. So talking about the 2026 National Jamboree. I want to talk a little bit about where we're going to be going. So we're going to be going to the Summit Betchel Reserve out in West Virginia. This area is about 10,000 acres where the National Jamboree is going to be held. It's well known for a lot of high adventure activities, including zip lining, whitewater rafting, BMX biking, uh, the rock climbing, uh, uh, and a whole bunch of other activities. There's going to be merit badges, a whole bunch of other fun stuff as well. The National Jamboree will host thousands of scouts. They're anticipating close to 20,000 scouts being in attendance and about 5,000 staffers. Scouts will explore all sorts of adventures, including stadium shows. There's going to be patch trading. There's going to be merit badges, adventure sports, and a whole bunch of other things. So if we go here to the National Jamboree, this is going to be the, I forget what number, but the Jamboree has been a thing for scouting, or the National Scout Jamboree has been going on for 75 years. It's happened about every 4 years, so I think this is the 25th. I think it's the 25th. There's going to be a lot of classic Jamboree experiences. So the stadium shows, last time they only did sub camp stadium shows. They're going to be going back to the live stadium shows, big stadium shows that have 20,000 attendance there, with live bands, live speakers, whole bunch of fun stuff like that. They're going to have worship services on for various denominations. They have tons of different chaplains that are going to be available. There will be patch trading. So we'll show later on in this presentation what our last patch set looked like, but you will have the opportunity, or the scouts will have the opportunity, to select what their patch set's going to look like and be able to trade those patches, which is a huge deal at the Jamboree. Last time when we went, we would have about 500 or 600 people in a circle, and they will all be there trading patches, and they make it such a big thing, and the scouts have a great time with it. If you can look at my shirt here, this was our patch set that we had for the OA. And then over here, this was our shoulder patch set. I'm sporting all my gear from last time in 2023, and the scouts will have a great time putting that together. The stadium shows. So, the theme for the 2026 National Jamboree, as you can see on the patch here that everybody will have the opportunity to get, is Elevate. So they will elevate energy through exciting shows. There will be shows will consist of the Jamboree-wide gatherings, and they'll also have small base camp shows as well. Shows will be our time to celebrate scouting and show that it's bigger than ourselves. Patch trading, I already kind of talked about that. There's going to be a bunch of it, but scouts have a really fun time with patch trading, and they even get into how much is a patch worth. They will decide how rare that patch is, what it looks like, and they will come up with a kind of their own economy based off the patches, and there will be some that get pretty exciting, and like I said, scouts get really behind the patch trading. Adventure sports. So as I said, BMX biking. They have a great waterfront area. There's going to be things such as zip lines. They have a zip line that is a mile long that goes right over the lake in Jamboree Central. It is an amazing experience. And scouts will have the opportunity to go on one of, I think, 3 zip lines that they have at the summit. And then there will also be the opportunity if we sign up for whitewater rafting for scouts to go on a 4-hour whitewater rafting trip while they are at the Jamboree. Summit Center. So they will elevate scouting at the center of the Jamboree, from stadium shows to challenging games, outdoor skill building experiences, perspective challenging programs, merit badge exploration, and preview versions of adventure activities at the Action Point and Boulder Cove. So opportunity for them to be able to do some rock climbing. Scouts and visitors will experience challenges across topics, both familiar and new, finding hobbies and pursuits that bring them joy. Summit Center programs are offered by scouting organizations. They will also have a lot of other hobby organizations coming in. They have a lot of other partners and vendors that come in and show different experiences and kind of education centers, military partners in educational groups. West Virginia University comes in and shares a whole bunch of different things based off their different programs, and they partner with the Jamboree quite a bit. It's a really cool thing what they put on there in the Summit Center, where scouts get to walk through all these different groups and experience different activities that get put on. The aquatic adventures. So they have Goodrich Lake that's there, and the Tri-Dave Lake. They backdrop the Jamboree aquatics activities, and they they'll get the opportunity to go in as buddy pairs. They have floaties and different inflatables that they get to play on and do things. They'll have boating that's available, kayaking. They'll have everything that you would have at typical experiences. It's just a little bit bigger. And then we already talked about whitewater rafting. Merit badges. So they have so many merit badges. They even have an off-site kind of bus that comes in, or trailer that comes in, that has all the welding supplies, blacksmithing supplies. They'll do everything from we had scouts earn environmental science and sustainability last time, scouting heritage. They probably had close to 75 different merit badges that they were offering in the Summit Center at the National Jamboree. Not that we want scouts to just work on merit badges while they're there, but that they will have the opportunity to work on them. And it is not based off a class schedule. It's based off an open program, so they can just drop in and work on a merit badge if they decide to do that, which is pretty cool. And they're all led by industry experts. So camp life. So of course, there's the camping experiences. It's really cool the way that they set up camping at National Jamboree. It's all Jamboree style camping. We will be coming in with our own Jamboree tents, and we'll all have the same tent when we're at the Jamboree. And it's really cool to see thousands and thousands and thousands of tents as you're overlooking the camping area and the subcamps at National Jamboree, with each council having their own color and having kind of a really neat setup there. You also get to have your own flavor on how you decorate your campsite based off of where you're from. And there will be a day that's called the Hometown Celebration at the National Jamboree, where they shut down a lot of the program areas, and it's all about going to meet scouts from different areas around the country. So you decorate your campsite based off of where you're from, and you share things about your scouting experiences from what's specific to your home state and your home council. And scouts will come in and kind of check out what you got going on and share, what's different about scouting across our country. And it's really something that's pretty exciting. And it's something that they will kind of get to do I sometime during the Jamboree. They have a 4-hour block there. Um, let's see what's new. So um, for staff at the Jamboree, they need about 5,000 staff members at the Jamboree. And they call them the Jamboree service team, and they need staff for everything, different skill sets, everything from people helping with in the kitchen, helping with distributing food, helping with medical, helping with first aid if you have special certifications for zip line or a cope or climbing. They need all of those staff, aquatic staff. Um, if you have special interest in things like scouting heritage, they need staff to help run those types of areas, staff to help with pioneering. Basically, if it's something to do with scouting and you have a special skill set, they need help. And so that's a call that we put out to parents and other adults that are interested in joining the Jamboree, but don't have the opportunity to go as adult leaders as part of the contingent. There is the opportunity to go as staff. There's going to be they have a special staff camping area, and they do provide meals for the staff as well that get cooked up and supplied. And it's actually at a discounted rate from what Jamboree participants go. The registration per participant is about $1,500. When it comes to staff, they have the ability to go either the full Jamboree trip of 10 days, or they can do a partial trip and do the first half of 5 days or the second half of 5 days. If you go for 5 days, the cost of registration is about $700. If you go for the whole 10 days, then the cost of registration for staff is about $1,000. So just putting that extra tidbit out there for that. And there will be the opportunity for staff to have the time off to also experience the Jamboree. All right. And then I think we're going to hand it off to Ada, correct, Justin?
That's correct.
All right.
Okay, so the contingent will consist of 18 youth from the boys' side and 18 youth on the girls' side, and 2 adults, which you've met us, me and Andrea, for the girls' side, and then 2 adults, Jeff and Justin, for the boys' side. For every 18 youth that we have 2 adults. That's not us, that's the contingent. That's national saying that. So if we can recruit more, then we can bring more adults. So if we would be able to bring up to 36 youth on each side. So it would double. It would go from 18 to 36 boys, and then 18 to 36 girls, and then it would go from 2 adults on the boys' side. So if you're wanting to attend as an adult on the contingent, then my biggest thing would be to recruit. If you're in your units, say, hey, do you want to go? To talk to the youths about going, so that way you might have the opportunity to go as well. If it were up to me, I'd take everyone because I want everyone to go. So what we're gonna do also.
May I
Yes.
jump in for just a moment, please?
Of course, yeah.
So my son Alex went to the last Jamboree, and he's got 2 younger siblings who are going this time. But Alex is happy to come out. Alex and I are happy to come out and talk to individual units about his Jamboree experience and try and drum up interest. So if you've got a unit that wants to hear from us, please contact me, and we'll come out and talk to your guys.
And that's awesome that Alex will also be able to go, because youth respond better when youth talk about things. They love hearing, especially Alex, he being an older scout, like younger ones will look up to him and want to know about his experiences and such. So that is great. Thank you so much, Rob, for offering that. I really appreciate that. So thank you. So we're also going to have a committee. So it's very difficult to put on, as you all know from your all units, it's very difficult to put on anything with a small amount of helpers. Many hands make light work. We say it all the time, and that's very evident here as well. We are taking on a big endeavor, taking as however many youth we take to West Virginia. So we're going to need help doing that. So we're going to have a committee. There's going to be a committee chair, a transportation chair, health and safety chair, training chair, public relations chair, and budget chair. And we, as the contingent leaders, will act as advisors, but ultimately it will be the parents helping with those roles. So if your child or your scout is going, then we ask that you take an active role in the committee in some way, whether you're the chair or you're a committee member or what have you. We do ask that you take an active role. That way we can get these youth over there and having a great time. So it is, before I continue, does anyone have any questions about any of these anything that I've said so far? Pause for a second, just in case. Okay. So public relations kind of boils down to doing advertising. If anyone has any questions or anything like that, answering their questions about the Jamboree. If in doubt, you can always refer them to one of us four. We'll be happy to answer any questions. The committee chair, kind of the one overseeing everything from the parents' perspective, from the committee perspective. And once again, we will act as like the advisor. But we really want that parent involvement. We really want that parent input. You know your scout, you know what they would need. So letting us know and letting the other parents know as well. Transportation, it's going to be a lot of moving parts getting us from Washington to West Virginia. Even getting us from Olympia or Yelm or wherever anyone's coming from, this all the way to the airport SeaTac or wherever we fly out of, all the way when we get to West Virginia. And then when we get to the Jamboree, there is going to be a lot of moving parts, and we're going to need someone to help us with that. Health and safety as well, like making sure we have like our first aid kits and making sure like everyone has all of their ABC forms, like all sorts of stuff like that. We're going to need help with all of that. Budget also, as you know, it is costly to get there. We're going to be doing a lot of fundraising. So any ideas, anyone who wants to take charge of that, we're going to need a lot of help with that because we do plan on doing a lot of fundraising. And that also, even if your scout, even if your family is financially able to pay for your scout to go, we're still asking that everyone does help participate in fundraising. So that's just, we all want to be as one, we all want to be as one unit as much as we can and help fundraising for each of us so that we all can go. And we can all partake in this great event. Yeah, so once again, are there any questions before I pass it off?
Ada, can I echo something you said real quick?
Yeah, of course.
So just going into the fundraising and everything else, this is going to be a real big journey. And the Jamboree trip itself, that's just a small piece of this whole process that we're going to be going through. And so this is going to be an experience where we are putting together a troop basically from the ground up. Everything from creating youth leadership and having a PLC to creating fundraising opportunities to putting budgets together to doing a shakedown camp out before we go, all of that kind of stuff, whether we do a pre-tour trip, everything that kind of comes into it. We're building a troop from the ground up, and they're coming from all around the council to do that. And so this is going to be a big experience, and fundraising is part of that experience. So the scouts will have a fun time with really doing some of their team development and they're learning and how to work together so then we can be more successful at the Jamboree while they participate in some of these fundraising events. So I just want to put that out there, that that's another reason for everyone to be involved in that, is that it helps build that camaraderie and that ownership and that experience of what this next year, year and a half is going to look like as a Jamboree contingent coming together and working together.
Yeah. And okay, so I will pass it on to Andrea.
So the slide we're currently on is our tentative calendar of events. So this is kind of just the floor plan for what our schedule looks like as far as fundraising and contingent meetings and when different forms and all that is due. So in February of 25, we're establishing our committee and recruit and fundraise ideas. April through May of this year, we'll be doing our first fundraiser, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, it's still kind of to be determined on that one?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And then in June of this year, we'll do our contingent kickoff meeting. September 25 through June of 26 we'll have monthly contingent meetings where we're all getting together and meeting, which I think it's still in the works of whether some of them will be in person and some of them will be over Zoom, correct?
Ideally in person.
Yeah. September we'll also be offering our second fundraiser. October 25, we are really going to push for people to get those physicals scheduled for their AB forms because they are due, when looking further down, they're due in March of 26. November and February we'll also have more fundraisers. We'll have a shakedown camp out in April or May of 26. We're still working on exactly when we can get that on the calendar and in the books. And then the best part is getting to Jamboree, July 22nd through 31st, with up to a 6-day pre-tour trip before that, which we're looking at New York City, Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania kind of areas. We're still working on what exactly that's going to look like, how long that pre-tour is going to be, and where all we're going to be going.
And I want to add one thing here.
Yeah.
The one date that Andrea mentioned, October of 25, schedule your physical for your A, B, and C. A lot of scouts that are going to summer camp this year may have their physicals in January or February of this year. That's great. However, it has to be dated after August 1st of 2025 in order for it to count for the National Jamboree. So if they had one in January of this year, they still have to have one dated after August 1st of this year. So just please keep that in mind when you're scheduling your physicals. And the reason we recommend October is because providers take a lot of time to schedule out. We don't want to see anything happen where March 31st comes around and you don't have a health form C and you can't go to the Jamboree. So please get on top of that. There's no wiggle room around that. There's also a hazard risk form that has to be signed with it from providers as well. Jeff is our expert on our medical stuff. He is our nurse practitioner and extremely knowledgeable in that world, and I'm grateful to have him on the team. So all health form questions, please direct those to Jeff because he is the expert. But August 1st is the absolute date, the earliest your physical can be dated of 2025. I'll pass it back over to Andrea.
So yeah, like Justin said, really focus on that. Here's some examples of what our pre-tour could potentially look like with the itinerary and what that schedule is. This example has us arriving on July 19th, which is a few days before the Jamboree. This would be a 3-day pre-tour trip, but we have looked at options up to 5 days for a pre-tour. We'll be doing some pretty cool things, like on this example, it shows us going to Gettysburg National Military Park, a film and cinema, plus a guided battlefield tour, I believe is what that was. And then doing the Lincoln Memorial and Vietnam Memorial. There's just a lot of really cool options out there for us. And we're trying to we're still working on what all we're going to see.
And just to echo that, Andrea, so one reason that we're looking at a pre-tour to this trip is it builds upon we're going all the way across the country and we're near a lot of these places, and it builds upon the experience a little bit for the scouts. But the other thing is that next year is our 250th anniversary of our country. And so we thought that it would be a pretty cool experience to take the scouts on such a momentous year within our country's history to go and experience some of our national heritage, where some of our scouts may have never had that opportunity to go and check those things out. So,
And just so everybody knows, we're going to talk about fees and funds in a second, but when we price out these trips, these trips are all inclusive. That means every meal from the time that they take off to the time they return is covered. Admissions to everything is covered. All ground transportation, tipping the driver, all of that stuff is included. The hotels, four to a room for scouts, double occupancies for chaperones, professional uniform security guards, liability insurance, all of that, like I said, is going to be covered as part of the Jamboree fee. So it's not like an additional fee on top of what's already being scheduled. So our anticipated cost, it's approximately $4,000 for each member of the contingent. That's both adults and youth. So it's $1,560 for the Jamboree itself. And then the remaining difference covers tents, patch sets, regalia, neckerchiefs, activity shirts, uniforms, bags, backpacks, airfare, pre-tour cost. The only other thing that scouts should bring is about $100 to $200 in spending money. But our goal is to fundraise. I believe that every scout should have an opportunity to attend the Jamboree. I loved it as a youth. I went to Fort A.P. Hill. It was great, but that was in the 1900s. So it's not really fun for kids to hear about Jamborees in the 1900s. So we're going to have some kids present from the 2023 Jamboree. But our payment schedule, there wasn't $300 non-refundable deposit. It's open now. Feel free to go ahead and make that deposit. And then there's different payments between March and June of next year. We did not schedule payments in December and January to allow families the opportunity for holiday spending and also for your annual membership renewals, because I know a lot of the scouts are on the December 31st renewal date. So we want to try and make sure people are not financially strapped for the December renewals as well as the holidays. And then there is a website that people can learn more about the actual Jamboree itself. And this is the website. And then I would like to end it with a video of
Justin, before you play the video, can I just there
Yeah.
will be some limited scholarships likely available. So like Justin said, you know, we don't want to keep any scout from this. So if there's financial issues, please contact Justin so we can start working those now instead of wait until the last minute and then somebody needs some help. Again, very limited, but the fundraising is gonna, you know, that $4,000 is based on aggressive fundraising, you know, to bring that cost down. So, but we'll also look for opportunities for scholarships too, or camperships.
Mike Rogers has a question.
Yeah, so about the fundraising and the total fees. So we're assuming roughly $4,000 per scout, and is that under the assumption that if we don't raise any money, which I know is not going to be the case, but if we don't raise any money, we expect around $4,000 is going to be the maximum, but it could be less depending on if we fundraise more?
$4,000 is based just on the basic costs. All those little things like the patch sets and stuff is going to come from fundraising. So if there's absolutely no fundraising, that cost could actually go up.
Okay.
The idea is that, you know, at this point we could only come up with a ballpark figure because we don't know how much funds are being raised, or how much, you know, maybe some sponsorships, whatever. So we've got a year to figure that out. But we needed to start getting the payments now because we need the funds to start being able to buy some of the materials and get the patches made and make reservations and stuff like that. So, but yeah, technically it could go up. We're hoping it doesn't. That we're hoping that it stays at that $4,000 or less.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
And I will do everything we can to keep it below 4,000. I know the 4 leaders that are going are committed to doing that. All right, last video.
Hi everyone, my name is Brooke Peters and I am an Eagle Scout from Troop 692, which is located down in Summit, Washington. So back in 2023, I attended National Jamboree at the Summit and I was the senior patrol leader for my contingent. National Jamboree was one of the best experiences of my life. I got to meet so many people from all over the country and I got to interact and learn about so many other things in scouting that I didn't know existed. Oftentimes in scouting, we are glued to our area, our council, our district, where our troop is, and then the troops around it. But at National Jamboree, one of the coolest parts was that you got to meet so many people from all over the country, and sometimes scouting is a little bit different in different states, and it was really cool to learn about other people's experiences and how they do things. Some of the girls in my contingent, what they would do is they had a National Jamboree shirt and they went around and they got someone from every state to sign it. So at the end of National Jamboree, they had a National Jamboree shirt and they had someone's signature from each 50 states. And I thought that that was really cool. And that's something I definitely highly suggest that you all do if you end up attending National Jamboree, because it's just a great way to meet so many people. At National Jamboree, you have so many things that you can do. You can go see museums that are there. You can go learn about different values and different things in scouting that you may have not known about. You can do merit badges. I know for me, I just needed a couple merit badges left to reach my silver Eagle Palm, and so I decided to just knock them out at National Jamboree. There's a lot of other really fun and cool things you can do at Jamboree, such as whitewater rafting, which was super fun. It was one of the best experiences of my life. They also have that huge rock climbing wall, which was super fun. I love rappelling, and if you love rappelling, they have an awesome rappelling station at that rock climbing wall, and it is one of the best experiences of my life. It's definitely the best experience I've had in rock climbing or rappelling. They also have this huge zip line, and that is a wonderful, thrilling experience. Overall, National Jamboree, it changed my views on scouting, and it made me realize that scouting everywhere is a little bit different, but overall we all share that same value of the scout oath and law. And it was just really cool to get to meet so many different people, trade patches, get patches from other councils, and it was just really fun and really cool. It was definitely one of the best experiences of my life, and I will cherish it forever. If you guys have any questions, or if you're even considering attending National Jamboree, I would highly suggest you attend National Jamboree. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime. And thank you so much for listening to my video. Hi everyone.
So these are just a few pictures from our last contingent right before we left to go to the Jamboree. A picture of one of our base camp bashes and a cool drone show that we had, and then our tent set up where our camp was there at the National Jamboree. But I think now, Justin, do you want to open it up for a little bit of Q&A?
I do, yes. Any questions? Come on, there's gotta be some questions. All right, you all are easy.
Justin, if somebody has a
I
question
have
for
a
you, how do they
question.
reach
John
out
Sorry,
and
has a
contact you?
question.
I messed up on the thing. So registration's open. I can register my son to the Jamboree, right? Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
That was my main question. Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
What's the drop dead date for registrations?
Well, I got to make a deposit before the March
Right, but
19th.
oh, I get it, John. But I was asking the contingent leaders, like, what's the drop dead date for registrations? How late am I out there beating the bushes and trying to drum up interest?
Justin, I can answer that because we're going to leave it open because we can have a standby list. If somebody registers after the $300 is due, let's say they register in, I believe it's March when the $400 is due. Somebody can register in March or April, but they're going to have to pay the deposit and whatever has been due up to that point. So when they hit the standby list, I believe we're just asking for the 300 and it's refundable if you don't end up going. But once we get to that, we don't want to stop because, as you know, Rob, you've been to these things, people will drop last minute. We want to have a good standby list. So there's really no close date on the registration.
We actually didn't have anybody drop out at the last minute last time, I don't
which
think.
is rare.
I know. Well, no, I'm totally with you. But yeah.
So Rob,
it will
just
remain
to-
open. Just it gets more expensive because you have to catch up on all the payments.
Yeah, just to open that up, we have the ability based off of the National Jamboree to increase or change our size or increase unit participation depending on how much we recruit all the way until I think November before the of next year before the cost goes up. And so not say we may make an adjustment or put a due date before then because but that's when the hard stop and the cost increases is for the council is November of 25.
Totally get it because I mean we need to make commitments earlier than say the folks on the East Coast do, right? If you're in a council in Virginia, you could register at the last minute. You don't have to worry about getting people on airplane flights and that kind of thing. We may have to set our dates a little farther ahead to account for all those extra logistics.
And Mike Rogers has a question.
Is there going to be a communication sent out that says you can register with like a link? Because I haven't seen anything. So people aren't going to know like if we don't send something out, right?
I agree.
There was
Go
a,
ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jess.
I know there was an email that was sent out. It was sent out
There
about
was.
tonight's meeting.
Yeah.
I don't know. It may have ended up in your spam folder because it went out through the Levitate that they use. I can reach out to Tricia to
I'll
push it out
talk to her tomorrow.
the-
We'll get it up on the website header.
Okay.
And we'll also get it back. I think this meeting was on Facebook, but I don't know if the registration link was. So we'll get it posted by tomorrow or at least Tuesday at the latest.
The email that had this link also had a link to the registration. So like if you scroll down, I think it didn't. Okay. Okay.
No, it didn't. I just checked it. It did not. So it would be nice to get a follow up from that. I think Mike's absolutely correct.
Totally understandable. And I do know that if anybody does go to the council calendar, if they go to July of 26, it's there, but that's not the easy way to do that. 100% agree. We'll get that emailed out. Tracy, you have a question?
Yes, I do. So when you were showing the numbers for the contingent, it would be a max of 36 youth boys and 36 youth girls is a possibility.
A full troop size is 36 youth and 4 adults per troop. So that would be 2 full troops for us, 1 boy troop, 1 girl troop. The 16 is that, sorry, the 18 is a half unit because we would be paired up with another unit at the Jamboree. So I would love to have 2 groups of 36. That gives more kids the opportunity to attend.
Okay.
But yeah.
Does it typically fill up? Is it like a competitive, like hustle, or is it kind of you usually get about 18?
So last Jamboree, I think
We had a
Jeff.
total of 32 youth that went, but we paid for the whole 40-person contingent. Wasn't that right, Rob?
We had 23 scouts and 5 adults, including Gabe as an adult who turned 18 like minutes before we went to Jamboree. But yeah,
3 patrols. No, it should be 26.
26. Alex is right. It was 26 because it was 3 patrols of 8 and senior patrol leader and ASPL. So yeah. Last Jamboree is a weird metric to go by because we were coming out of the COVID years and the bankruptcy, and things were not normal.
Okay.
This experience will be different.
Okay. Thank you.
I did put the registration link in the chat if anybody wants to grab it.
Mike Rogers.
Yes, I want to correct my statement. Ada, you're right. The link is in there, but there's no indication that it is an actual hyperlink and that you can click it for the event. So it's just not clear, but yeah, you guys are right. It is there. It's just not clear is all.
Well, I apologize. It should be clear. That's our bad. So we'll make sure it's clear. And I appreciate Darren talking to Trish. You get up on the Facebook, I'm sorry, on the header of the actual website.
Yeah, and she's got social media scheduled for it to go out. We'll make sure it's clear in there too.
Cool. Any other questions? I mean, there's a lot of fundraising opportunities, but and any youth that signs up, we did mention this. We are going to expect a adult from that family to help us from the committee side because many hands make light work, and I want this to be a huge success. The reason we're doing the pre-tour is a lot of kids from out here may not get the opportunity to go to the East Coast. When I went to the Jamboree, I didn't have a chance to do a pre-tour, and I was kind of disappointed about it. I paid the same amount as a youth from New Jersey that a youth paid in Washington to go to the National Jamboree, and I just went to the Jamboree and went home. They went to the Jamboree and they did like a 5-day pre-tour. So we're building in the price of the pre-tour to the event. So that I want them to have the opportunity to do that. I think it would be a good opportunity. And with it being the 250-year anniversary of our country, if they're working on citizenship in the nation, that's a good requirement they can check off right there. If they're working on American History Merit Badge, they can check off some requirements there. So they may be able to finish a few merit badges while they're there just doing those tours. So it's a great opportunity. Any other questions? Sweet. Well, we have 13 minutes.
Justin, should we put out that if anybody wants to take leadership or be a chair on one of those committees that we talked about, please reach out to us because our hope is to stand up that committee within the next month.
Yes. And Darren, the email address that you have set up for the Jamboree, is that live?
It's supposedly live. We can't seem to get access to it, and I've got a ticket into national. So when it is live, I'll let you know. It is just going to be PHC NSJ for National Scout Jamboree 2026 at scouting.org. But we are having problems with it, and I've got to get that straightened out national before we make it go like live.
In the meantime, before that goes live, I dropped my email in the chat. Please go ahead and use that for any type of questions or communications after today's date. I'll be the main point of contact for the contingent. As a contingent leader, I will share the responsibility with all the leaders. We're all in this together. I look forward to taking your youth to the Jamboree. I think it's going to be a great experience. I want them to have as much fun as possible, but most importantly, it's youth led. So I want them to be able to lead us to the Jamboree and lead us as they will in the scouting program. So I believe in that youth led program, and I'm a huge advocate for it. So I encourage it, and I look forward to working with everybody. So thank you. And I'll be on here for the next 10 minutes if anybody has any questions that they want to stay on and ask. Otherwise, you guys are all free to go. I greatly appreciate it. I asked my staff to stay on in case there's any questions, but everybody else is welcome to drop off, and thank you.
Thank you.